Oh, g'day, Brew here, how you doing? Just a quick video to update what my progress was on whether or not you should add yeast nutrient to your boil or straight into the fermenter. I've done a lot of research over the last couple of weeks, and what I've come up with is up to you. There's a lot of ins and outs, it's very ambiguous, it's very complicated, but what I found out is just on the short version is yes, pop it in your boil, it's not going to hurt it. Does the yeast need the yeast nutrient when it has a great all grain wort? Not always, but you just never know, and quite often that can be the result of quite often you can end up with a result with your brewing of having getting down to about 4 or 5 points short of your final gravity. And I think it's a good insurance to be using yeast nutrient in all your brews. Put it in all your boils, put it in all your brews, your yeast is going to be happy. And especially as it was pointed out the other day, someone said to me in a comment they only use it in a high gravity beer, and that's fantastic, and that is definitely what you need. But I think a run of the mill for every beer that you have, for what it's worth, a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of yeast nutrient into your boil is going to just give you that insurance to make sure that the yeast is happy and does the work. Because let's face it, yeast in beer is everything. Okay, so that's it from me. This is just a short video on that, and I did a video before on it, and I waffled on about all the ins and outs and everything about yeast nutrient in the boil and the chemistry of it, and I've researched it. But basically, put it in your boil, use it on every beer, all grain or not. And it's actually, especially another point just popped into my head that I read is, if you're doing a beer that has a lot of adjuncts, sugars and fruits and everything like that, it's not going to have a lot of those elements that are in an all grain wort, malt wort. So it's definitely, if you're doing an ale, when you're using, if you're doing a kit beer, I would say if you're using a kit and a kg of dextrose, definitely put in a teaspoon of yeast nutrient. But it's a good practice, I think, a general rule of thumb, to always put it in your boil on every brew, no matter what it is. It's just that backup insurance that your yeast is going to have plenty of good stuff to go on. And it's just like an athlete, doing a big job, having to run really fast, and in training has to have his nutrients, his supplements. It's the same thing. I mean, it's just insurance that yeast is everything in brewing. It just is. It makes a difference in the foam. It makes a difference in the flavors. It makes a difference the way that it cleans up its diacetyl. If it's really if the yeast isn't happy, even if you do a diacetyl rest, it's still not. It's going to be sluggish, and you're still going to. I would imagine that you're still able to have. It would struggle to clean up the diacetyl. So across the board, for general good home brewing beer housekeeping, a teaspoon or even just a half teaspoon in the boil will work wonders for your beer, and I think it's a fantastic process. Just listen to a bit of ZZ Top here. I've been getting into ZZ Top lately, and amongst other things on the vinyl. I was going to talk about that, but I won't. I'm getting tired. So cheers everybody, enjoy your brewing, and thanks so much for the comments and putting questions to me about things, and making me think about stuff for home brewing, because I'm always learning all the time. So cheers, you take care. Cheers.